So this is when you're looking at the home screen here. We have the ability to go pull up the balance scorecard, define outcome constraints, do financial statements, provide AI-generated insights, decision canvas, etc. You have autonomous decisions coming at you or resilient decisions. That is the focus of today. What decisions do you need to make, etc.? What alerts do you have? What decision runs have happened? What experiments you want to conduct? The decision studio side of it to say what decision policies you want to establish, what risk do you want to model, how do you want to define your filters, your drivers, if they are correlated, correlation groups, decision flows, and so on. And a full statement of defining the foundation of the model in terms of workspaces, enterprise settings, integration flows, understanding on the health and defining global calendars, enterprises, platform policies, all of that. So I would just, obviously the home screen gives you information anyway, but if you look at balance scorecard, this is what I was just trying to show you earlier in a screenshot. You can see for a set of products, in this case, just a few products selected, what is the economic value added, what has been the trend across history, what is the trend projected, and you have now the ability of not just seeing this as a disconnected, isolated visual, you can actually see how it links down to lower level KPIs in a full chain across all the levels. And this is where the power of the platform comes from. All of this visualization is based on actual order line and actual projected order proposal, order line level data, aggregated, dynamically converted to KPIs, and presented to this way. Let me show you an example of decision policies. Decision policies is where you define risk postures, you define objectives. In this case, we are selecting economic value added to be 100% KPI, but I could as well have come here. So first we are saying, well, for this economic value added, we want to be chasing what, and I could set it to be a 75th percentile and so on. You could also select service level and gross margin as your objectives you want to chase, and in a multi-objective setting, you could define different weights for it. We do full Pareto-frontier analysis to help you identify in a meta optimization way how these weights should be. But this policy allows you to define constraints, define demand and supply oriented shaping options, dynamic pricing, promotions, allow you to define lots of demand supply matching rules. The demand supply matching rules is interesting too, because now for the first time you're able to say for a given type of forecast, which type of inventory is okay, which type of it is not. You get to model drivers. We'll cover that in a minute, risk and publish scope and so on. This is a view of drivers. So you come into a driver, and let me just click on this. You can see it fully. So we select a particular driver. In this case is customer demand variability. So you define a driver, you basically say, well, what is the driver based on? We are basing it on consensus demand plan as a method. We could also choose a supply lead time kind of situation on a dimension attribute. How do you want to apply the driver correction? Could be replaced or multiplicative. In this case, we are choosing to apply a bias correction factor to the consensus demand plan. So we chose multiplicative. We define a lookback. We define how many times do we want to model the variability, and then we click on calibrate. And these are all the combinations, and you can choose any of them, and it tells you real time what the risk spread looks like. For 250 bins, I could just change this and say, what if it was 150 bins, and recalibrate, and it shows you a different calibration. So the more you go in the past, the more values are available to you, the richer your risk histogram. This is basically telling you the spread. And if you see the spread changes across finished good to finished good, item to item combination, we publish a lot of resilient metrics around it. Interestingly, these things, if you wanted to understand risk, to say, well, I'm seeing a 25 to 75 risk band right now. If I want to see what my P90 looks like, I just have to go there and it'll tell you what that risk factor correction needs to be. So it informs you. You can just also enter values here, and it will automatically point you to the, so if I said 1.05, it will also point me to where I need to go and so on. And then this is the workspace section that I wanted to cover too, which is just you go into a workspace, you can basically define a set of dimensions. And if you're choosing dimensions, you have the ability to define component dimensions and define all of the attributes that go inside it with all the full sourcing. If you go inside grains and you pull up a grain, you can basically choose what dimensions come together to define a grain at what level and how do you roll them up. So there's a lot of richness in defining the models. The platform is open for innovators to define similar models, define planning agents that we would then run as part of the decision runs.